There was a group of Orthodox Jews, about 18 of them, that were traveling to Ukraine, and they were trying to travel back home from Amsterdam back to New York. Now it's about 18 teenagers. They were kicked off their second flight that was on Delta because they were apparently moving their seats. When you get on the plane, they automatically give you a seat number. And honestly, they need to understand where their seats are, and if somebody doesn't want you to move, well, according to their plane ticket, this is where they're supposed to be assigned to. Unless if there's other circumstances where like you have to balance out the weight on the plane or something like that. But they were kicked off the plane. The first of all, the first plane, they had a dispute with the COVID-19 protocol why they didn't get on the first plane trip back. The second plane trip back, they got kicked off for moving their seats. Now I know when I say 18 groups of 18 people in the group just are teenagers. When teenagers get together, I understand that they can get loud, abrupt, and they can act out of control sometimes. So this is what I was thinking, where maybe they were acting a little bit out of control for the stewardess to actually do their job. Because now it seems like there's more hostility towards stewardess that are on the plane than before. So because they got kicked off on the second time, they were forced to sleep in the airport and tried to find a way back home. The chaperones were trying to find any type of way to get them back home. One of the rabbis that was with them said that they called lawyers in New York. They've reached out to a couple of senators to get them to reach out to Delta to try to reverse this. Then Delta called the parents. They arranged for them to go back from Amsterdam to New York once again. But when they got on the plane, they did the same behavior that got them kicked off. They asked to swap seats. I think they respectfully asked to swap seats. It was a mother that wanted to sit next to her son or something like that. And they decided to kick the teenage group off, and the lady that asked to swap seats stayed on the plane. That was just the wrong way to handle the situation. They said because that was the first time she had a mishap with the courier. But the teenage group was kicked off again. So once again, Delta lended out a helping hand and said, hey, we'll try to get you some flights to get back. But the group declined, one, because of the ban, because of religious purposes, the date that they had, it would have been a holiday where they can't be on the plane. They're banned from travel, basically. They can't get in the car, none of that. I know you've seen like Jewish people walking to their temples and stuff like that, but they don't really drive to it. It has to be within a certain range for them to even get a place, really, because they know they have to walk, and walking over a certain amount of miles is considered work, and then that's against their religion as well. So Delta tried to book another flight. They declined that, and they ended up going to another city, and they got on the plane with United and got back home finally. Now, the rabbi this whole time is trying to say they're anti-Semitic and this is against our culture. They're being prejudiced to our culture because we're Jewish and this and that. I really don't think the whole thing had to do with being Jewish. It's just sometimes when you travel in a big group, you're more of a target because they think of everybody as a whole. Like if one person gets in trouble, they don't want the stuff to escalate because they see that you're with a bigger group. The big group can jump like one person, and they will have the upper hand for the most part. So I think that's partially part of the reasoning why they might have felt threatened, maybe. But I know bigger groups cause bigger issues, so that can be partially why. I know some of the decisions that the plane Delta their crew did was incorrect, unethical, but they also have to look at themselves and reflect upon that and see what was really going on. I don't feel like the rabbi is going to tell you the whole side of the story, what teenagers were doing either. But at the same time, Delta was wrong. So we need to find a happy medium. I'm glad that these girls got back to where they needed to be, but they just gotta have. They just gotta be more professional when they go to different places. Let me know your thoughts and comments below.